Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the show. This episode is brought to you by The Wellness Paradigm, a holistic health coaching company shifting the way that women understand and heal their bodies. Through bioenergetic testing, functional lab testing, and nutrition, we uncover what traditional approaches often overlook, so you can stop guessing, start healing, and finally feel like yourself again. No more one-size-fits-all protocols, just real answers, deep-rooted healing, and the clarity and confidence you deserve to feel incredible. It's time to shift the paradigm of women's health. Now on to our show. And good afternoon, Ruthie.
Hi.
Excited you're
Hello.
here.
Me
And
too.
I I just feel the need to also call out the fact that she is such an incredible badass mom, but also she's just like rocking her kid and doing this podcast, rocking her company. I mean, it's incredible what us moms do. But besides a mom, Ruthie is also a somatic practitioner and a business mentor, a movement builder, and she also is a boy mom times two. And she really leads
Times
entrepreneurs.
three.
Three, sorry.
Times three. It's all good.
Uh,
Yeah.
yes, and she has a movement called Love Leadership, right? Which I'm
Yeah.
sure you'll talk about. And she has brought in over 2 million in revenue and hundreds of clients served. And she's really known for her bold industry breaking approach that prioritizes identity, integration, or integrity and body-led innovation over cookie cutter business practices, which
Yep.
would be a whole hour-long conversation.
Or longer, right? Or longer. Yeah.
But
I
Ruthie, welcome
love
to the
it.
show.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. I feel like we could talk all day
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have
about
so
all
many
the things.
parallels.
Yeah, it's great. It's so
Yes.
cool.
At the time of
I love
recording,
it.
we both have children under 4 months old, and as well as other kiddos. And it's being a mom, being a business owner, and being an impact leader, like it's
A
a
lot.
lot, and it's beautiful, and it is sometimes a little exhausting. So, um,
Sometimes. I know. It's so funny. Yesterday I was talking to my girlfriend and I was like, dude, I'm just like so sore and so tired all the time. She's like, oh, I wonder why.
yep.
Yeah, I know. I know. I'm just saying, okay.
Just wanted to come for a second.
I
That's
just,
the thing that you just don't understand is it's not just the load of being literally postpartum, breastfeeding, not sleeping, but it's also just this mental load of running a
yeah,
company as a female and,
it is. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
client
Yeah.
results and team if you have it. It's like there's all of
Oh,
these things.
yeah.
It's just
It's always something. It's like, and this is something that I talk about with my clients all the time. It's like we have different, like, we have our overall capacity, right? And your window of tolerance, if we're going to get into the nervous system, that's what your capacity is. But our capacity, I like to think of it as like a suitcase. And we fit these different things in our suitcase and we carry it around. And like some things you can take out and some things you can't. Like you can't take out the stress around your family or your children or what you're going to cook for dinner that week or like school stuff. You can't take out, when you're a business owner, you can't take out business stuff, business growth, strategy, problems, client stuff, growth, how to, grow and build and all the things and scaling. Like, and like there are some things you can take out, like bullshit situations or, things you're delegating to your team, but there are just some things you can't take out. And then when you add in postpartum, it's like a whole other thing. And we're just carrying around like so much. And I feel that since having the baby, my capacity has actually gotten quite bigger. I feel like I've grown my window of tolerance in a season. I'm very proud of that because in this kind of season, like for most moms, your window of tolerance shrinks and you can't take on more. But because I've been doing this work for so long, and like we talked about, I feel like I've been prioritizing my health for so long. I know what I need to do to have a different postpartum experience running a business. Because when Logan was born, my 7-year old, he was born my first year of being a full time business owner. And so, like, I didn't do anything that I'm doing now. I didn't have a team, I didn't have family around. I didn't have extra help. I didn't know how to ask for help. So I feel like I learned a lot and it's been really smoother this time.
mm. Yeah, it's so interesting when you learn or don't about like what works.
Oh, yeah.
We did the
When
first
you don't, when you don't learn,
episode.
there's that too.
What would you say? Because I mean, there's a lot of mom business owners, right? And, you know, I'm sure you have similar thoughts to me is one of the most important things you can do besides taking care of your health, eating, eating enough, hydrating, all of the things that we were jamming on before this. But, nervous system work, I know is one thing I honed on so in depth between my two. Um,
Yeah.
and it was not this fun and beautiful butterfly journey for me
No.
at all. But, coming in, I felt a lot different in many ways, especially being a business owner. But I would be curious, like, what are the things that you found to be the most helpful this time around?
Yeah. I find, well, one, I love that you said it was not cute because I think that's something we have to preface these conversations with is that it is painful. Like, in order for you to grow your nervous system to a place where you can hold more stress before you collapse, you have to be dysregulated. So, you almost have to put yourself in the situations to build the awareness to make a different choice, right? And I think for me, what was different this time was, well, I live literally next door to my mom and dad, and so knowing it's like I may not even need to execute the opportunity to ask for help or like to take advantage of the help, but just knowing that I have people around that are willing to help is huge. So surrounding myself with people who want to help me in this season, letting my husband do the things. That's like the personal stuff, and then not and like a really beautiful closet full of lounge sets because that made me feel really good to like have clothes that I don't know, I wanted to wear and lounge in. So that's like the personal side, but the business side, I've gone through seasons where I have overhired, right? Where you have the designer, like you do the brand shoots every quarter, and then you have the graphic designer and an OBM and a VA, and then another VA and a tax person, and like you have all these people on your team, and then you start to realize, wait a minute, what are they actually doing? Like, so I found one person through Bree,
Mm.
and I had known my OBM for a little while, like on and offline, or like not really on offline, but like from Instagram. And like she came into a couple of my containers, like my free or low ticket stuff. And we just really connected on our values and we see things very similarly. And we both have children and we're both family first type people. And, um, when I hired her in like April of last year, maybe April or May, I said to her, like, I'm pregnant and I wasn't expecting to hire a new person, but like my OBM decided to close down her business. And so, like, this is what I want and this is what I need. So I was very clear about like what was happening in my business and in my life. And I needed to make sure that I had someone who understood where I was going, what my work is all about, and what my mission is. And it took us a while. Like, I mean, I'm not like she didn't do anything. It just took us a while to like build up that relationship and build up that trust. And as it does when you have a team. Oh, come here, honey. You love your gums. Your gums are sore. So, as the baby was born, or we were going into the season where we were about to have the baby, I was about to have the baby. I felt safer delegating and handing things off. I also gave myself permission to just like not put a shit ton of stuff on my plate towards that time.
Mm.
Oh, bless you. And so I mean, I have a pretty big pattern that I'm trying to break around getting space in my business and in my schedule and then just like overloading myself with stuff instead of just being. And so having one person I can rely on helped me offload quite a bit. And then I didn't really schedule a heck of a lot in December and January. I took time off. I told my clients, I'm going to start with 2 weeks. We'll see what happens. And it was great. And then, I mean, for me, I was also like planning an event for 50 people. And so that I did a lot of people were like, how did you do it? Well, from March till December, I did a lot of the heavy lifting for the planning, and it didn't feel really all that hard. And then coming back online, I just feel like this time around I had the support, so I knew what to delegate. I gave myself some space, and I also like I have the systems in place. Oh, you can just set it right here. Thank you. I have you bringing me food. Um, so I have like the systems in place so that it doesn't feel hard to take a break.
Well, that's a big one because I feel like business owners, especially moms, it's like, break? What? No, there's always something to do, right?
Always.
Brain's always scanning for something to do. I literally,
Uh-huh.
last night, I told my husband, I was like, it's actually amazing when I look at my day, how much I did. And like, just even the small things that add up, like, oh, like
Yeah.
laundry or putting on
Yeah.
clothes or, remember
Yeah.
a birthday gift for somebody or diapers,
Totally. Do
it's
you feel like you get more done before 8 a.m. than most people do in their entire day?
Girl, today I have lived a whole life before my nanny got here. I fed twice, changed two blowouts, changed two outfits, gave a breakfast, did a 15-minute
Yeah.
workout before my baby blew out one of her diapers. And then showered and dried my hair. Like it's just like that was before 8 a.m.
Yep.
And then you start work and it's like, okay. And then it's boom, 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 because I only got a few hours of work time before I have both the kids again. And you can't
Yep.
stay up late like I used to. I used to work till midnight. Geez. I mean, don't suggest that even if you don't have kids. But like, now it's like, nope, I gotta, it's bedtime till like 9 o'clock. And then sometimes later if the baby don't want to go to sleep. And then I'm tired because I'm gonna be up three times in the night. So I can't be up till 12. So it's a trip, man. But I think a lot of times it's like you set boundaries and you really figure out where
Yeah.
energy wants
Yeah.
to go.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
talk about that a bit because I know it's something that you talk to with
I
clients
mean,
about.
well, I've learned the hard way. I mean, I'm somebody who really learns what works for me by experiencing what doesn't.
Yep.
And some people say that's my human design, and like I'm
Where
a
are you?
3/5. I'm a 3/5
What is that?
Manny Gen.
Oh, okay.
I'm a sacral Manny Gen, but my profile is 3/5. So it's like the martyr heretic where you like learn by trial and error and you're like a natural leader. Anyway, so but that's just me. Like I've been like that my whole life. I have to get my hands on something and try it. I learned and I learned very on. I mean, boundaries have been my nemesis and like my biggest fucking work in this owning a business since day one. I mean, I feel like my whole life I've struggled with boundaries because
Hmm.
at the core, like, what do we not having boundaries affords us love and acceptance, and people stay and then they do shitty things anyway. So, for me, what I experienced really with boundaries was that I'm a lot better when I have them. Like I'm a better wife, I'm a better coach, I'm a better mom, I'm a better everything when I'm not available for everybody to have access to me all the time for all the things. Like I'm not open 24/7, you know. My previous coach used to be like, "You're not a 7-Eleven. Come on, let's go." Like set the boundary. So, but it's just, I think this is something that I've struggled with because I just care so much and I have such a big heart and I just genuinely want my clients to win. And that's the truth. Like I just want everybody to make a fuck ton of money and be happy and be wealthy and have freedom of choice and be healthy and live their life the way that they want to. Now, in this season of business, I finally gotten to a place where like every single client was like, we know and we get it. And we signed on with you knowing that this was going to happen. So it's fine.
Hmm.
And so, but I have been in a season where I didn't have clients like that. And even taking a break when my husband was suffering from mold toxicity was like a huge thing. And so I think sometimes we learn by just being in the situations like I was saying, like in order for you to grow, you have to be in those situations. In order for you to expand your capacity, you have to be dysregulated. In order for us to like learn how to lead through boundaries and set them and all the things, we have to be in situations where we have to actually execute that. So having Lane, I mean, I was due on Christmas Day. So I was like, I've always told myself I'm going to take the last 2 weeks of the year off. And this was the first year in business that I've actually done it
Hmm.
because I was kind of forced to. And so I stopped all calls. I set that boundary with myself. And then I asked my OBM to like hold me accountable to it. So, and that's the other thing is like, if you struggle with boundaries, have somebody in your life who you can trust to lovingly be like, hey, dude, you said this, now you're doing this. Like, we need to get congruent. And so thankfully, she was able to be like, it's going to be fine. Like, you said you wanted to be done by the 13th. Let's be done by the 13th. And everything is going to be great. And then I didn't come back until like mid January. So for me, it was perfect because Logan was out of school. My oldest son, Liam, was out of school, and Liam lives with his dad in Seattle. So like he flew down for Christmas a week after I gave birth. So it was like we titrated and like slowly added a little bit more into, our life. And it was great. But the boundaries help me keep my sanity. It also builds your confidence. Like, especially when and I had so many corrective experiences around setting boundaries and following through on policies and procedures and holding people to a standard in the last like quarter of 2025. So when you're pregnant, your bullshit meter is just like sky high and you don't want to tolerate anything because you're so fucking tired and uncomfortable that you're like, I just don't have time for this shit. Quit wasting my time.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
been there.
right.
But yeah, I think that's important because it's so often a lot of people get into businesses because they are so passionate, right? I'm the same way. It's like
Yeah.
we're empathetic and
Yes.
realize, obviously, I'm coming at it like from a health perspective. So many of my clients, business owners, burnt out, high empathy,
Yeah.
and they're struggling with
Yeah.
autoimmune issues, inflammatory issues, brain fog, tiredness, because their body is just getting sucked the life out of them, and they're also not, working on the basics to actually like support their body, but it's also just emotionally draining. And, the boundaries thing is a big one people don't think about because it's just been the way they've been their whole life. They don't think twice about it. They saw their parents maybe do it, right? And it's like breaking that. I've seen just a huge difference, not just in clients' health journey, but I'm sure from your side, business wise, people do better.
They do. And I came from the health and fitness
Mhm.
background. Like I mean, I wasn't like, a health coach, but I did Beachbody for a while. And so I did network marketing around health and fitness. And then I transitioned into like personal training and I went on my own journey and I had adrenal burnout. And a lot of it wasn't from work, it was from life
Yep.
and like not having those boundaries and I struggled with disordered eating and it was just like life and stress and not knowing how to regulate and not knowing how to have hard conversations and set those boundaries so I feel like I know the cost of not having these things in place for myself as a mother and as a business owner. And also I feel like with this pregnancy there was just like a maturation that happened for me
Mhm.
just around like I was kind of sharing with you before we got on here. I went through like a solid 18-month period of functional freeze from just some like life and you know financial stuff happening in our family, going from two incomes to one income, um draining our savings for a custody battle, like a lot of life shit and not business. But um yeah, I knew the cost of like not putting these things in place for myself and I wasn't willing to do that again.
Yeah. Now, when you work with clients, What would you say
Yeah.
are some of the biggest tools that you find to make the biggest difference in helping them not just feel better, but a big thing is also just increasing impact and income?
Yes. For me, it's stackables. I talk about this in my program called 500K Capacity, where we're talking about shifting the way you see yourself and shifting the amount that you allow yourself to receive by following through on the things you say you're going to do. But it's not necessarily like, oh, I'm going to work out every day or, oh, I'm going to post content every day. It's like things that actually have to support your long term vision and things that also have to force you to change and become a different person. So it's not like, oh, yeah, I work out every day. That's just who I am. Yeah, okay, great. But it's the stackables. Like, are we focused on things that are actually moving the needle forward? And can we show up at least 70% of the time? Because what happens when you allow yourself to like show up 70% of the time is like at that threshold, you start to change the way your brain sees you, like your self concept, but also that's when the self trust starts to change in your neuroplasticity. You start to believe yourself a little bit deeper. So that's honestly like one of the most like simple things I do with clients. Like we look at a 30, 60, 90-day plan for not only like their income, but like their relationships and their health and their body. And we start to look at what do we want? Where do we want to be 90 days from now? Where do we want to be 180 days from now? Where do we want to be 270 days from now? And how can we start to just show up and like build a plan and show up every day and stack all of it on top of each other, because we all then also you're the embodiment of the compound effect. But also this is embodiment, taking the time to like actually do what you say you're going to do. Yes, that's one form of embodiment, but also embodiment is understanding the language that your body speaks. So alongside of like the stacking, we also on top of like the actions and the steps to like move the needle forward, we track body sensation. And one thing I do with my clients is track safety. So like what made you feel safe today? What allowed you to feel safe in your body? What allowed you to expand that safety if that's what you're experiencing? What pissed you off? What triggered you? What activated you? Where did you feel it? What was the sensation? Can you rate it? What were your thoughts? Like, and so when we start to build body awareness, we start to learn the language that our body speaks, and with that awareness, we have choice. So then, literally, like your results are inevitable because the more that you stack and the more that you drop into the sensations and the more you track them, you stack you stack all the tracking and you stack all the habits and you stack all the moments and you stack all the revenue. It's inevitable that you're going to change and you're going to get what you want.
Now, I feel as if this is a complex-ish topic, but you mentioned, it's inevitable, right? What would you say for somebody that's had a history of past trauma in their business and or, this could be in relationships and financial, whatever, but where maybe you know that, but your body doesn't actually understand that and it keeps
That's where I'm
blocking.
at right now. That's where I'm at right now because I've been in business since 2017 and I have no qualms being completely transparent about it, but
Mhm.
that's exactly where I'm at.
Mhm.
So 2017, I started my business overnight, and within 3 years, I'm hitting consistent 30K month. I mean, I had 100K a year, 100K a year, 200, 370, 500, 525, 360, 200, 200, 200. So how do you take yourself from having this like peak income, peak visibility, sold out offers, prices, like people drop in, $3,000 to work with you for one 90-minute session to, oh my gosh, like how do you go from 45K months, 50, 60K months to 12, 15? And it's a slow unraveling. It's not like it didn't happen overnight. It was like, I literally felt like it was just like a sweater. Someone just kept pulling the string and like your favorite sweater. And you're like, fuck, no, stop, 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 stop. No. Oh my gosh. Like, you know what I mean? So for me, one, the first step for me has been to talk about it, because the more that I don't talk about it, the more shame I felt. The more I talk about it, the more other people go, oh my gosh, me too. Oh my gosh, me too. And it wasn't because I'm not a good coach or I don't know what I'm doing. It was life, lifing, kicking my ass. At the same time, life was lifing. It was like the year after I had my highest cashier, I had a extremely volatile and very unfortunate, fucked up facilitator experience.
Mm.
So I was at a retreat and I had just someone who, was in a container with me, using as a peer, using a lot of the things that I would talk about on calls as material, so to speak, for a mediumship reading, giving me all of this insight around my family that put me into a fight or flight state.
Mm.
And it was unfortunate. It was just a really shitty experience, but it wasn't just me. It was like 7 or 8 other people who also had an experience that was unfortunate. And that situation just led me to being like, fuck you. Like, fuck this. Everybody is like out to get me. I was very angry and hurt and traumatized, you know? I'll spare the details, but it took me about 2 years to come out of that. And mostly because a couple months prior, I had like an energy healing portion of my business where I was a Reiki master teacher and I had like 50 students that I had brought up. And so I had made a name for myself in the Reiki community and in the industry around being the go-to for Reiki practitioners and training and all of that. And I built a really beautiful portion of my business through that. And I was psychically attacked by some of those clients. So that happened in the beginning of 2023. The other facilitation experience happened in May of 2023, and I held on to those. Remember how I was talking about a suitcase? I let those sit in my suitcase and I carried that stress and that hurt and that trauma around for years. So the more that I talked about it, the more that I was like, oh, I'm not alone. Other people, this is not me. I didn't do anything wrong. I'm not a bad coach. I'm not a bad person. My income has nothing to do with my integrity and everything to do with my capacity. It has
Mm.
nothing to do with my character. And I have to stop trying to prove that. Had everything to do with my capacity and how much I was allowing myself to receive. Now, when you're in a functional free state, you're checking all the boxes, you're doing all the things, like you're just going through the motions, but your creativity is not online. And what do we need to feel alive in our business? Creativity, expression. If you're in a functional free state, what happens with your vocal cords? Your voice literally shrinks. Like you can go up and up and up in your pitch to like defend yourself. And then your creativity can also get a little stifled. I would show up on calls and I would be like, I don't know why I can't create anything. It makes me emotional thinking about it because I was making myself wrong when I wasn't doing anything wrong. And it was just my body trying to talk to me.
Mm.
And I swear, like the more that I talk about it, the more awareness I get around how, like, we need to start having these conversations, because I know there are so many business owners who go through this that feel ashamed. They're like,
Mhm.
something must be wrong with me if I had 30K months back then, but now I'm at 10K months. Like, what am I doing wrong? It must be me. 9 times out of 10, it's not you. It's something going on internally.
Mm.
So I think that was like the biggest thing for me, is like, in order for me to eradicate the shame or like work with that part of me that felt ashamed, I had to let her be seen and I had to let her be heard and co regulate in that moment of like, Yeah, girl, me too. I've been through that too. Does that answer the question? Can't even remember what your question was, but I think it does.
I don't remember the question either, but this is an important conversation. I mean, not just for business owners, but health in general. It's just you always feel like
Health in
something is
general.
wrong or you have to be
Yeah.
doing more, and that leads to so
Yeah.
much burnout, functional freezes. I mean,
Oh,
I have so many podcasts around this, which I feel like every single female really needs to listen to because it's
oh, yeah. Yes.
it's a big one.
Yes. It's a big one. And like, look, I mean, we see it in the health world and we see it in the fitness world all the time. Like, okay, I mean, if we just go back to basics, you and you're in, and let's say I'm trying to lose weight. We think we need to have this and this and this and this and this and this. And yes, there are certain things that do impact your ability to lose weight at a reasonable time frame, right? Like hormones, sleep, stress, age, diet, right? But on the most basic level, like those are influencers, but on our most basic level of science, weight loss is calories in versus calories out. But there are things that impact it,
Mhm.
right? But if we just come back to basics and we start and we pick three things to focus on. So this is what I talk with my clients about. It's like you don't need 8,000 boxes to check. You need 3 to 4 a day that are very high impact, high payoff actions that are going to move the needle forward. You can do that with weight loss too. Walking, focusing on your walking, focusing on your sleep. Look at the foods. Are you reading labels? Are you eating whole foods? Like those, some of those things, just three changes could stack to an incredible result. Now, you are in a whole different ballgame with your clients because you take people much deeper than the surface level actions. And I absolutely love that and agree. I believe like in our society, people are they're sold on everything and all these things they don't actually really need because a lot of like our health could be solved by just tackling our habits and looking at epigenetics and things like that, hormone health and the things that you're putting in your body, like I don't know, I could go on and on and on and on and on and on. But I do believe that like your health and your wealth start with your self-concept. And it's like it's a body thing, right? But like your health and your wealth start with your self-concept. If you see yourself as unhealthy or fat or gross or whatever, and you see yourself as struggling to make money or broke or in scarcity, then you're going to create and take action from that self concept. So it really does start with how you see yourself, even when you're in these seasons. Do you know who you are? And are you taking care of yourself and doing the best that you can? I think part of the reason why I struggled so much is because I struggled with how I saw myself. I made myself wrong for experiencing something every business owner goes through, but most don't just talk about it on social media.
So true. I mean, same with health journeys. You see this and the end
Yeah.
quotation result. You don't know about any of this middle BS
Mhm.
that happens,
Yeah.
and you feel lost. You're like, wait, or like, yeah, like shame, right? Because
Yeah.
well, how are they able to get to point A to point B on a straight line? Girl, no, they didn't. It was zigzagging all over the place. It just didn't show you that mess, right?
Exactly. Exactly. It's it drives me crazy because I find that like a lot of people just, I don't know, it just doesn't do anybody any favors. And so something for me, like I've made a commitment actually like very recently of like, you know what? Part of my healing is shining light on like all of the shit that I think people are judging me for. So I'm just going to talk about it. Like, yeah, I went through an income dip. Yeah, I mean, and if my like floor is multiple six figures, how fucking cool is that? But like also not one single person knows every little detail about everything that's happened. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. I just told myself recently, I'm like, I want to rebuild my income Absolutely. But I want to do it in this way. And I want to be honest and transparent about it. And I want to take people on the journey because I find for me that if I hide any of it because I think people aren't going to hire me, I'm I'm going to create a nervous system response within myself. Does that make sense?
Hmm. Oh, yes. As somebody who hid her pregnancy from social media
Mm,
because of that, well, a few other things, but yeah, yeah, it's a big one as females, especially female entrepreneurs. That
yeah,
like this, especially moms. No matter what, I think
yeah.
it's just underlying conversation that goes on in people's heads, whether we want to admit it or not, that when people have babies, their capacity lowers. And when people are,
I
yeah,
find I'm experiencing the opposite,
which is amazing. And I'm glad we're having this conversation because so many
right?
people, and this is not just entrepreneurs, this is also corporate, corporate women
Yeah,
too.
100%. Yeah,
You become
yeah.
less available. You suddenly and that's not a bad thing, but in this world of high achieving women, it's viewed as a
As a
negative.
as a negative or like
Yeah.
a problem or yeah, I agree. Yeah, and I think that was one of the things that I struggled with, but he was like, oh, are my clients going to be upset that now I bring the baby to everything?
Mhm.
Like, and someone, I think it was Maria actually, when we were talking about the event, she's like, are you going to bring your baby? And I was like, well, yeah.
Yeah. She
I
she
mean,
hosted an event with a 9-week old.
I did. I did. I did. And honestly, it's really funny because at that event, and this might actually just wrap up my personality or like my work ethic in like one sentence, but someone was like, how the hell are you doing it? And I was like, I don't know. I just do it.
Yeah. I think that's a mom saying in general. Like it's
I
just
know.
you just
I'm
do
like,
it.
where did I hear that the first time? My mother. And
Mhm.
my mom had 10 babies. So like she had 10 kids and she was a military wife. So like
Oh my God.
you don't really have any room to like make excuses about why you can't XYZ. You just fucking figure it out and you do it. So I think I
Ooh.
had a really great example.
Mm. I've got two, and I'm
Yeah.
like, this is good. It's a lot.
I get
Um,
it. It is a lot. It is, especially when they're closer in age like that and they're little. It's
yeah,
harder.
yes. Expectations were also different, 30, 40 years ago.
I know. It's so hilarious because, you know, and this was another thing that I, wanted to start talking about is like my husband went back to work. Big fucking whoop. It doesn't mean anything except, yay, now we have another resource and another stream of income. Does it look how we want it to look? Not entirely. But I feel like there are so many people who are going through probably something very similar where like their partner or their spouse has to go back to work and you've spent a good chunk of the last decade being at, working for yourselves at home and we're in a totally different season than we were in 2020. And my mom was saying, she was like, do you know how much money we made in 1974? I'm like, I don't want to fucking know. It's like $400 a month. Like, you know, yay. But also, I think that there's such a stigma around like when you are making money, it has to constantly go up and up and up and up and up for you to be able to say that you're successful.
100%, especially in this world where it's social media driven and you
Yeah,
see income claim after income claim, it makes you feel like not enough. And then you're like, I need to
exactly.
just be doing when one of the best things you can do, and like you said, every person's going to have this where you have a pullback season. And it's not a
Mhm.
bad thing. It's a lot of times it's a realignment season where you're
Agreed.
outgrowing the way that you were running and operating your business, but you haven't shifted fully into your new identity yet. And it's this really messy middle.
It's so messy, and your
I,
body's catching up, and your environment around you is changing, and calibrating. It's a lot, and there's so much that goes into it. And toss in pregnancy and having a baby, and it's like you go through a massive identity shift in 9 months. Your entire body changes, and then it takes another like what they say. that your body's healing a wound the size of a dinner plate for like a good, what, 6 months?
Oh, 6 to 8 months, yeah. Yeah, where your placenta was.
Yeah.
Yep. Forget about that whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
We are so, but I think that my whole point is like, I'm just done being like subscribing to the stigma around all these things. And I think the only way that we're going to actually create a different kind of industry where people can actually feel safe being all of them and making money no matter what season they're in is if we really start to bring awareness and shine light on all the things that make us feel ashamed.
I like that. I feel like that's a good little like wrap up. Um,
Yeah,
so
with integrity, of course.
well, and I think talking, hearing you talk, hearing there's people you just know lead with integrity, and that's one thing
Yeah,
I feel, unfortunately, people have gotten burned on in the past, especially business owners who have hired coaches. And then it makes them not want to hire the real good ones that are rooted in integrity,
I know. I
Um,
know. And that's exactly why I started the Love Leader movement because we need more heart centered, love led leaders who aren't afraid to do the hard thing and aren't afraid to say and be real and hold the boundary, raise the standard, lead from integrity. Um, yeah,
yeah.
all the things.
Oh, true. If people wanted to learn more about Love Leaders and you, where can they connect with you?
Instagram, my handle is XO the Love Leader, and that's where I primarily hang out. And you can find all information about me and things that are coming up in my world. Love Leader Live is happening again in 2027. It'll be March of 2027. And all that information you can also find on my Instagram link, like in my bio.
Mm. Awesome. I will put that down in the show notes, guys, so you guys can connect with her, chat with her, follow her.
Mhm. Thank you.
And thanks for bringing up all of this, really important topic that really just gets shoved under the rug. So
Mhm.
I'm glad that we had this combo. Thank you for being
You
here.
too.
And
Thank you for
listeners,
having me.
appreciate you
Us. Thank you for
here.
having us.
Yes, yes, both of you here. And catch you guys on the next show. Bye.
Sounds good. Bye.